Hello, my name is Sean Martin. I'm an architect with MARTA, and this is my first year being a juror for the high school design competition. One thing I love about this process and working with students is to see the range of work, the different ideas and the approaches that the students take when they attack the program given to them within the time that they have. I think it's a great process for the students, for the chapter, AIA Atlanta, and for the jurors.
Hi, I'm Ann Gerardellis. I direct the Common First Year in the College of Architecture, and I've been an architect for 25 years. I love participating in the AIA High School Design Competition. I enjoy so much seeing the way that young design students imagine being citizens of the world, and design is such a great way for that to happen.
Hello, I'm Tom Vincell, Chairman Emeritus of Thompson Vincell Steinbeck and Associates, formerly known, or now known as TVS Design. I'm really looking forward to evaluating these young students' work. It's nice to see their interest in architecture.
I love seeing the students express their ideas in all different ways. Most of all, I love their ideas expressed through their time on the site, taking photographs of the site. I love their ideas expressed through words that they're writing all over their drawings. And I love that their ideas are expressed through sketches that are on different small sheets of paper and large drawings that are rendered on the computer that take a long time. All kinds of ways to let those ideas come forward. It's beautiful to see.
I'm particularly impressed with the just vivid imagination of the young people.
I agree.
There's no limits. They just really go all out and come up with some really weird and sometimes exotic, but some really beautiful thoughts. So it's very encouraging just to see that I think they've got a bright future.
And one of the things that I really enjoy is to look at them, just kind of digest the program and then just see them in their design process from start to finish. Those presentations that actually take the time to take us on that journey and how they go from point A to point Z is very, very wonderful to see that.
Sometimes in schools there's an emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and math. And the amazing thing is that those are all really important aspects of design. And so I'm a big proponent of STEM to STEAM, that the arts should be in the midst of these STEM fields. And I would encourage you, as you study different subjects in school and find what fascinates you, think about how those can inform new design ideas. Because I think that they're so related, and I love seeing the way in which these schemes take on notions of sustainability with science, new materials, and they're changing the way that we design, and they're changing the design environment around us. And you guys are the ones who are going to change this thing for the better, and I can't wait to see more.
I've reflected a little bit on my own career, and I think about 20th century art and where I was too, and I think about my early buildings, and I was looking for something dramatic and exciting and so on and so on, and especially, it's just really wow. And as I got on in the turn of the century, I started thinking that, we really haven't been about making things beautiful, beautiful buildings. Even art, it's been sometimes trying to be very dramatic, eye-catching, very different. But in the end, what we have at our fingertips, we have the ability to make our buildings beautiful. And not just, something dramatic or exciting, or always search for the beauty within it if you can. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing. Some people think that architects could be artists. I think that there's art within the architecture, but it's not always there. And I think the search for the art within the architecture is something we should strive for. You won't always hit it, you won't know it sometimes when you've done it. But if you look at some really fine buildings, new buildings, modern buildings, you can find some that have truly some beauty within them. And that's a great thing.
Hi, I'm Clayton Daspit. I work for Collins Cooper Crucie Architects. I'm honored to be here today, and I've been incredibly impressed with the amount of work and effort, and especially the creativity I've seen in the projects this morning.
Hi, my name is Jay Silverman. I'm AIA Atlanta president. I'm also a senior associate with Lord Ekin Sargent Architects, and I specialize in urban infill developments. I've really enjoyed seeing the creativity and the hard work that's gone into each of the boards today. I commend each of you on the effort you put into these projects.
Hi, my name is Chris Welty, and I'm an associate professor at Southern Polytechnic State University, where I coordinate the professional program and the design communication sequence, and currently teach fourth year studio. This is my 6th year involved in the high school student design competition here in Atlanta, and I have to say it's always a tremendous honor to come see the great work of the students, the concepts that they've developed, and the way they've actually articulated space and created wonderful designs.
Good morning, I'm Russell Gentry. I'm on the architecture faculty at Georgia Tech. I'm a practicing structural engineer, and I'm excited to be part of the AIA jury for the student competition. I'm reviewing the projects for structure and position on the site, and love to see these tall towers looking out over the city of Atlanta.
My name is Bethany Tuttle. I'm the foundation specialist for Atlanta with the Home Depot Foundation. What I most admire about this project is inspiring students to make investments in their community with their talents.
Clearly, a lot of the young people entering this competition are really good at the computer, right? The models look so well resolved. These buildings look like we could build them tomorrow. But we know that there's a lot of ideas that haven't been explored and things that you have considered or you haven't considered. So we want to look at sketches and sections and permutations of the project to understand what you've considered and maybe what you haven't considered and need to think about in terms of your project.
During the review, there were a few words that we used a lot, and one was filter and one was hierarchy. And so telling that story of the project, what's important, what drawings get put on the board in the most prominence, and then which ones get removed from the board because they might not be important or might kind of cloud the story of the project. Sometimes the software can really help a project, but then there are other times it really constrains a project. Because we've seen a few projects that had really beautiful conceptual ideas, but it seems like the students' ability with the software stifled or stagnated the idea, the creativity that was in the initial gesture or the initial sketches. And so we would just encourage the students to work in multiple modes of representation, not just the computer itself, but there were some that had built physical models, which is always a wonderful way to express form, and then others that had tried to do some of the computer work, but we think it might not have been as successful as it could have been.
And we actually read what you wrote.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's great to have your story and so that what you write about your project shows up in the drawings.
I'd like to say that overall we were really impressed with what the students have been able to do with the computer and with graphics and how they were able to convey their design. It's a very high level for somebody who hasn't had any kind of architectural training yet so far. So we're really proud of what we've seen.
I agree strongly.
Yeah.
What I was going to say earlier was one of the things we found very compelling was including as many sketches. Some students attach almost like sketchbooks to their boards, and we devoured that because it really shows your ability to think. Even if it's the simplest sketch, it tells a lot to us, and those are very inspiring.
We all make design mistakes. We try different things and we try and we fail. And if we didn't try, we wouldn't fail. However, when one is presenting their work, if you include things that don't work in your presentation, it means that you're not aware of them not working. It's great to do those things, to make mistakes and to make things that don't look great along the way. But when they're put front and center on your board, you don't know, then that's not strong. And so I think that for many of these schemes, that's going to be that's going to be the criteria for me that defines an honorable mention student from a winning student. Am I hearing then, I think that that's really a very helpful criteria, that maybe what we're looking for in our honorable mentions is excellence, at least excellence in one of the areas. That it's excellence of imagination, excellence of working function, and excellence of process, and excellence of craft. And I would argue that excellence of process might have to end up with a beautiful building. So So let's talk about the winners. And I think Tom brought up an interesting, important point too, that this is not only about which scheme meets these criteria, but when we have difficulties with kind of setting priorities, it is about, this is what AIA Atlanta puts out front and says, this is important work. So it's worthwhile to think about that as well.
I think as a project and as a complete project, it has all the elements. It's very beautiful. I think that I would definitely go with that one. But I would also like to see maybe in the future that element of really bringing in Atlanta, because I think that makes an investment in our community and has the people in our community thinking about Atlanta, and not just all over the different country, but what impact can you make in Atlanta?
Before we looked at all of them collectively, when we just had our group, that was my number 2. And I have to say, I still think it is because of a few things. The process in the beginning of looking at Atlanta and trying to decipher what makes Atlanta Atlanta. Maybe the design outcome is a little more finicky than I think some of the other designs, but if you read through the text, there's an attempt to try to bring the sustainable aspects into it, and then the beauty of the hand drawings. I really think that's something refreshing to see against all of the computer work. Even though I'm teach all the digital stuff at Southern Poly, it's really nice to see that level of engagement. So that would be my number 2.
It was said this is building on 9 years of effort to get to where we are today, and the effort really shows in the increased level of quality of what we're seeing from these high school students without any formal architectural training whatsoever. I think that from and I'd especially like to thank the Home Depot Foundation for what you guys do, and the act of inspiring these young minds to hopefully take on and tackle some of, if they can do this well with this program, think about what they can take on in our community in the future, and thank you guys for that. So this has been a really great discussion today. And I've gotten a lot out of it. So.
I just want to add one more thing. I received an email yesterday from a student who won 2 years ago, and he was accepted to the Georgia Tech, SPSU, and SCAD.
Oh.
So he has to choose. He has a tough decision to make.
Oh, that's not tough at all.
So he was very thankful and said that this competition was part of the reason why he was accepted at all 3 schools, is what he's thinking.
Well, it's my first time to do this, and I think the whole effort was extraordinary. And I'm delighted to see this level of presentation, my gosh.